Welcome back, guys. This is the Esea MDL. As you can see, we're going to be recreating some pillow talk here for you as Connor has mysteriously disappeared. I do like the fact that his lighting solution has become a towel over the window. But let's ignore that fact and move right on into what is going to be our second match. I'm sure he'll be back within a moment. Toilet issues do occur occasionally, and sometimes casters need to go. But either way, we are going to be heading into our pistol round. Sprout versus XCOM. XCOM coming up as German, I'm pretty sure. Is it organization? I think it is organization or something like that. But yeah, on to Nuke. My favorite map of all of the map. I know Observer Misty is going to be over the moon because this is his favorite map too to observe. Definitely doesn't just put on auto director. Keto. Going to be looking for those opening picks, but it really hasn't gone so well, and the T's are going to open right up into this one. Leave it down into the 4 versus 2, and at least Murbit will find one back quickly. They've got their new man in the form of Keto, who's recently joined the roster, so the fact that Nuke is one of the first maps they're going to play is definitely going to be a tough scenario for them, but Sprout clearly feeling confident. Reeds maybe a little more so. Murbit this time is not going to be able to connect, so it will be XCOM taking the pistol and getting off to a strong start on their T side. Either way, going into the purchases, we are going to see a force up coming in from Sprout. So they have a little bit of utility, some pistols to play with Sis, and no surprise to see him waiting to get that AWP. For me, him and, well, Faven are definitely the players on this roster to watch. Like, him with that AWP is deadly as it gets, but for this round, look at his Faven going down. Spiddy manages to sneak out the side and get a double for himself, but other than that, we see the rest of his team fall. Bomb currently dropped to the deck, but not really going to be any cover. And actually, the initial smokes that have been thrown down by the T's are going to fade, so there's a chance, at least, for them to be held on the cross. The problem is the man holding the cross, as already mentioned, has nothing but his USP. Does a little bit of damage, but not anything to really write home about. And now, I don't really know why the T's would opt to go in towards Secret here. Like, it's so high risk. It's a close corners section of the map. And yeah, they're just going to double back and go into the A site. Probably the smart play to make here. A little bit more open. Sure, there's some close quarters positions that could catch you out, but ultimately a lot less risky. And even though the dink is hit by Murbit, it isn't going to be enough. 3 players survive in the end for the T side, and the force buy is quelled quite easily for them. Interested by Spiddy's buy, though. That's a weird one. Did he just, like, click F3 or something? Like, you know, you got your auto buy buttons? Because that's really peculiar. Like, I've heard of a solo or a hero AK. A hero FAMAS sounds like one of the worst things in the universe. Like, if he wins this round, I will bow down to the god that is Spiddy and maybe clip it and ask him a question as to why this was something that happened, because it does hurt my soul. The thing is, though, he may actually just be able to save, which, in the grand scale of things, considering I'm going to hazard a guess and say this was a misbuy, that's not too bad. Like, don't allow that rifle to go down. You can just bring it into the next round, purchase utility and a kit, and all in all, not so much of a problem. And for the T's, well, okay, you got the MAC-10s. I suppose hunting with the MAC-10s is not too bad a position to take, but yeah, a pretty weird round. Going forward, though, XCOM, they're going to have quite a bit of money. They managed to get multiple kills off the back of SMGs. Not a single player lost in this round, which definitely going to help their cause out in terms of the finances. Now, the interesting thing is, how many will they upgrade? Because this is something I mentioned in the last game as well, that a lot of the time you don't see players upgrading these weapons because, hey, it's a bonus round. But in modern-day Counter-Strike, it's not so much of a bonus round because the buy comes up a lot higher. You will see Spiddy keep that FAMAS, so all in all, not too bad. Still not the greatest weapon in the game, but definitely better than what he would have been able to afford going into this round. They do have the added loss bonus anyway, but even still, I think his best case scenario would have just been another FAMAS, so not something you want. Smoke's going to be thrown on the outside, and looking again to take some control here are XCOM, and they're fairly successful previously, definitely being a bit more careful in case someone like Spitty just goes running around the outside. Instead, this time, he's going to be playing in towards Secret. Stomp, waiting with the AWP. It will be Searson to start these. Very quickly traded out. Reet with a nice little double on that outer portion of the map, and the Molotov going to try and force players out if they were towards Mini. Keto's actually instead in the corner on the A side. The problem is, though, once you lose that out of control, things become very difficult. That's why you've got Murbit actually around in hell at the moment, just because otherwise they'll have access to ramp, they'll have access to heaven, and just too many positions that the CTs can't really afford to lose. How is he going to get the timing right here? Movement not being heard. Window's already been broken. He needs to look up towards heaven. He doesn't actually know that they're up there, and there's the first, but the second not quite going to come. It's actually going to be Mono instead. Denies any further push. Keto on the site trying to hold on both players here. It comes down to the 1 versus 1. Faven versus Stomp King, and he's got it perfectly with the no-scope as well. XCOM just about hold on to that round on the T side. And they've started things off 4-0. Once again, though, for the CTs, well, they're actually going to take a moment. Forced by a possibility, but probably not advised. They'd be able to get rifles, but some of the players, it might have to be an SMG or just no, well, pretty much no utility, no kits, no nothing. And I imagine going into the next round, the idea will be to make sure that Searson still has his AWP. This is the only kill he's managed to get so far is with that AWP. So chances are we're not going to see that much of an investment. They can still buy down a little bit, even if they do lose this round, which seems fairly likely. They'll have maximum loss bonus, 3,400 into their pockets, so they don't really need to worry too much. Here we go. Freeze time cancelled. A few pistols purchased. Searson could invest a little bit into the round himself, maybe a Deeg, by the looks of it. Oh, he's actually going to go for a scout. Should still have enough. Will still have enough into the next round to buy an AWP, but there's another chance, really, for XCOM to start making that little bit of extra money. Faven waiting around the hut. Again, they've gone for a fairly standard round, if I'm honest, in terms of their hold. 3 players on towards or around that A site. 1 on ramp, 1 on outside. With the sort of flex player in the form of Spitty just trying to help outside as much as he can. I think XCOM know, however, that this not going to be an investment, so we'll just take their time, look to try and force some players out, go for a little bit of spam in the hopes of finding somebody, but they're going to settle on ramp, and with Murbit being the only one here, he is going to find out the information. Smoke going to give him a little bit of vision over the top of it, trying to use the angles. The fact is they just run right past, and he will be able to get one, but there was a player already damaged by Searson on the scalp. Rotation. It's going to be coming down. Spitty's here. Keto also alongside him. So still a chance at least to do some damage, especially with Mono and Innocent already tagged. Innocent actually holding on quite well, but eventually will be traded out. A rifle should be picked up, and in the hands of Faven definitely can do damage. Unfortunately, the AWP is there quickly in return. And while with Keto left alone, not going to be able to do anything. 5-0 start. XCOM absolutely flying on the T side of Nuke at the moment. I did say at the beginning of the game, like, when you have a new player in your roster, going straight in for a Nuke game seems fairly risky. But we're still early days.
Yes.
Very early for you.
Very early. This has happened so fast, Tom, it almost feels like it's the very first round. But it's not, clearly. 5-0 start, great T beginnings, but an aggressive play into the A site is what maybe the doctor ordered. Sprout ready to dish out the damage, but unfortunately, they still come out on the losing end because Searson sectioned off inside a vent with that AWP and Mirbit's flanking lobby, but to no real avail. XCOM, dude, did you see the amount of grenade damage they took early, Tom? It looked brutal, but they survived long enough to at least plant bomb and hang on to this 3v2. And by the looks of Sprout's positionings, they do not want any more of this. So 6-0 the start. Hell of a T side starting to come together.
Yeah, no, it just seems like Sprout are taking an absolute beating at this point of the game. Searson, normally the star of the show, alongside Faven, he's had 1 kill. It was the one time they just ran outside, and even then it was traded instantly. And I think that's been one of the problems, but in this round you can't really say anything against it because they didn't go outside. He's just sat waiting after they brute forced their way into the A site. So, yeah, CT side left again in this sort of limbo section where there's the temptation to risk something, go for SMGs and rifles and try and make something work, especially when you're 6-0 down, but they can't. They've got to just wait. They've got to make sure they get the rifles in.
Maybe some ramp aggression. No, it's just that deep smoke from Mirbit. Looks like he wants to walk through. Getting the op kill outdoors means he doesn't have to pinch, but how do they get Searson out from this? He will just retreat. T's going to give it. So no further pressure applied on the outer side of the map. This is going to potentially push XCOM into the A site, and the CTs read into this. They're starting to group themselves up both on A and ramp. Ready for the push. That includes 3 T's ready to rock around the corner. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, indeed. They missed their initial chance at pistol kills. Look at the damage. It's there, but every T comes out with a kill. Sure enough, Innocent falls off the back. Keto down for the count. He gets stomped as XCOM takes 7.
Yeah, I'm actually quite liking the look of this XCOM team. Like, we have to be like sort of honest and say, like, I've said this a couple of times already, but Nuke seems like a weird choice when you got a brand new player. Like, I would almost suggest it's one of the worst maps you could try and just slot someone in. But yeah, the T side are looking good as well. I haven't seen much from Stomp King in the past. I think Mono. But the rest are all players that have sort of been around the scene at least a little bit. And from Stomp King, I've been really impressed so far. Like, he's been finding a lot of opening picks for them. This time, Searson finally put into play. He's taken a hell of a lot of damage, though, already. And you can see Innocent just lurking around the corner, just waiting to see if anybody's go for any extra aggression, but knows the likelihood is Searson is just still waiting around that corner.
Maybe the utility's enough. A good banked frag could blow him to smithereens, but flashbang and a fire from Searson. Ooh, baby. Grenade doesn't quite do it. Mono gonna be able to trade back into the A site with a double. Just pop Speedy's noggin. Now Faven's gonna come off with the ladder. There's a chance to stop the bomb, but he gets tagged up from outdoors, nearly swings onto Innocent 2v2, and Stomp King's gonna be able to plant bomb most certainly. VCT should not be able to stop him unless the vent player flies out. Searson knows. He sees him close and he no-scopes to the gut. Shut down. Stomp King making sound, and Mirbit's now hot on his heels, peeks out from door. The 0 rounds, no more. Sprout are on the board. Tom, they've done it. Took them 8 rounds, but they've done it.
Yeah, what it took, though, was it just ludicrous. Like, one player comes out vent, denies the bomb. The second player comes out the vent, no-scopes the guy to the next of it, and then, well, turns it into the 2 versus 1. So it seems like, well, it wasn't like that was an easy round. Like, it's not like a CT side nuke round where you've just kind of held your positions and managed to hold back the T's. That really came down to almost clutch plays. And that, although, yeah, great, got you on the board. Hopefully that will give you a little bit of confidence. That's not the way you want to be winning these rounds. Searson, however, they were not going to be expecting that. Again, 2 rounds in a row, we've seen him go aggressive in different spots both times finding the opening pick. This is how you need to utilize this man.
Difference being last round, there was no further outdoor play really from XCOM. They lost that body, worked their way closer towards ramp. Sure, they eventually had a duel going. We saw the pinch through mini come into fruition, but this is very much still focused outdoors, and I'm curious to see if the defense can hold it. Searson's op hungry for another target, sees these grenades parading downwards. I love this variation on the wall of smoke. Kind of lets you isolate garage if need be. You can even pinch into mini, so you're gonna know Faven's a little scared. He decides to walk forward towards vent. There's 3 Ts right there behind him. You see how they just isolate the play, but the CTs back on site are gonna be able to lock it down a little bit longer. Op firing off from there they go. XCOM, one after another, will fumble, they'll fall. But it really boils down to Searson with a 3K that round.
Yeah, both rounds that they've won, it's been a turn up from him. And considering I think he was 1-5 a couple of rounds ago, to have that turnaround is an important part of this team. Because you have to remember, they lost one of their staple players. Like Dennis was, I wouldn't say the craziest fragger. He wasn't that top guy like leading the way, but he was consistent. And consistency can be much harder to replace than finding a young player who's going to pop off. Searson, he's the man who needs to now just explode into the server while at least Keto gets his feet. Because I think Keto's a good addition, at least from the players that they've been able to find. But I think that it's still going to be left on Searson and a lot of the time on Faven to do a lot of the damage.
Oh, little headshot angle down below from Speedy. Puts out the Molotov, and there's a slight gap for him to play around with. Searson trying to skewer the man outdoors. Poor Mono caught in no man's land. A second corpse added to the tally. Do you believe in the Stomp 1v5, Tom?
No.
Me neither. Me neither. But he's at least got a bomb to pick up. Maybe he sprints towards the site. Could he run Heisenberg and just plant?
The thing is, every single angle at the moment is just being held, so I think the second he rounds his corner. Oh. Yeah.
Poor guy so boxed in.
That round, though, started pretty poorly for XCOM. I wonder if this is them actually calling a pause, because there was definitely some miscommunication in the round. The first smoke went down about 5 seconds before the second one. So then when they actually went to run past the smokes, the first one faded, and that's how the opening kill happened. Then, by the time the second player got there, all the smokes were gone. So it just seemed like they'd already sacrificed... Well, it was Mono. He was very late. But they sacrificed 2 players purely based on just their utility usage. And then, well, the other 2 got absolutely wrecked when they went down into secret. But that's besides the point. I can forgive like getting wrecked by an AUG, but the smoke mistake, that's going to be the one that's something they have to look over when it comes back to watching the demos.
You watched any good demos lately, Tom?
I watch it all live.
Yeah, I like that. I was watching back Sydney, and I was thinking to myself, like, damn, I regret missing out on so much of that event, because there were so many good matches. Specifically Fnatic versus Nip. I only caught the 3rd map, but the whole thing's so good. So
the final as well. The final as well was a banger.
But this round, the reason we should be able to neglect it is, you know, it's just pistols. Just pistols rushing B. You'd think a man like Murph would be able to hold it all down, but he hears that second door open, and now there's indecision. I like that. Decon door opens to smoke outside double door. And now everybody leaves. Oh, we're getting freaky.
Spitty almost caught off guard. He somehow gets a second, but he won't have the bullets. Finish off the 3rd. Rotation coming back from the CT side, but I was going to say they should be a little bit late, but actually the T is a bit slow getting into the site, maybe expecting people to be here. And there are now 2 within heaven. Nice shot from Stomp King, at least to close out 1. definitely made things interesting. Now, surely they're not going to be caught out from the vent this time. Nade in the form of a flash thrown over. The vent push comes in, but it's Stomp King again. This guy, I've not seen much from him, but he's been nuts so far, and he's got Reets to help him out. 12 and 6, 11 and 5. These two guys are performing. And XCOM, they've won the T half. What more do they need?
A CT half. Technically.
Yes.
To
Yeah.
answer
If we're going
your question.
purely technical, you are correct.
If you want to be literal, Tom.
Yeah.
Figuratively, what they need is to continue said success, because it started strong, but they've also got Sprout back in with another gun round. So let's see. Let's see if weapons make a world of difference. Let's see if weapons make the world go round.
I sure hope not. Sisson again.
Nice.
Well, it
That
is
was just an elbow.
It is him. He is the surprise factor, I would say. Like, we watched almost the polar opposite in the last game, where there was every single player on Gamer Legion could surprise you at any moment. Even Existence, who is the man calling the shots a lot of the time, he was being flashed into angles and taking aggressive peeks. On this team, it is Searson. Like, they set him up, they put him in positions, and they try and take control of different parts of the map, which has its positives and negatives. Trades coming back on the other side, still keep the CTs at least in control for now, but so much control of the map has gone the way over to the Ts. They're already up in heaven. They're looking to wrap back around. Now, it seems like the CTs have tried to alternate their positions based on this. Faven is going to be holding.
They're kind of stuck in here. Innocent's the one who's looking to make space, but he can't clear the back vent until Faven does walk out. Now Stomp falls, and there's a player just behind him. There's a player behind him that seals the fate of this round, you'd think. Because Innocent should never be able to cross this entire floor and pick up that bomb. Not with the player behind. Nope. Searson's got him dead to rights. And a 4th round for Sprout now. That's one that comes down to the wire. Comes down to the nitty-gritty. Back or forth. I wouldn't have been shocked to see XCOM pick up a 9th off that, but in fact, it's not the case. And because of it, there's a good case that Sprout should win another round, or at least a couple. This weapon buy is not the best from XCOM. Double AK, sprinkled with some pistols. Non-existent utility. Let's see what they've got in store.
Yeah, we've seen a few brute force rounds from XCOM, just running and gunning in situations where utility wasn't really thrown in at all. So I think mainly the purchase is just off spreading the wealth, but it would have been nice to see a nade or two. Reets should still be able to drop an AWP into the next round. But more importantly, Keto, he's got an XM. That's what I want to be seeing. It is viable on this map. I at least learned this from Hiko.
Go.
So if Hiko does it, it has to be good. That's what I learned in Counter-Strike. We'll see if Keto can channel that. Oscar as well has used it around this angle, and they're my 2 personal favorites of watching this weapon. Other than myself, of course.
Well, it may not get much action, Tom, because it all unfolds at ramp. Every kill other than the final one going the way of the ramp hold. So the noob tube moves forward. Where is he going to play it? On top of Hut?
You mean pro
No, it's
tube.
the noob tube, bro.
No, it's not.
XM1014
you have to be
is
good.
the noob tube.
It's only noob if
You have
you're
to be
bad
lucky.
with it. No. I'll 1v1 you XM only. Any gun.
Let's bang. This is
As long as it's a 1v1.
Oh, here we go. He's fully blind. Connects 2 shotgun shells. 3rd one's going to get himself the first kill. Then he gets just deleted by Reets. But Reets not long for the world. That's an aggressive play from XCOM. They just charge out the squeaky door. And 5 seconds later, they are no more. Sprout really closing the gap here at the end of this first half.
Yeah, that's always the thing I find with a lot of the time, especially with this map, is that if a team starts this strong, a lot of the time they will let it slip. And although 8 rounds on the T side of Nuke, I think any team going into the first half will take it. It's still one of those things where now the momentum starts to switch. Sprouts start to really build into the game. Teams have been much more successful in pulling off T rounds on this map as of recent. And it's definitely not out of their reach to pull this back. So XCOM have to be careful that they haven't got a little bit overconfident here after winning so many rounds at the beginning of the game.
Tends to happen far too often, more than it should. You know, you get that momentous start. You think you can just floor it all the way to the game's end or the half's end, Tom, and reality sinks in real quick when you fly out 3 bodies from Squeaky Door. So they're going to get a little more elaborate this time around. Unfortunately for Mono, he drops that smoke to try and make it think they could double back. But look, Searson's got a gap to play with. That smoke bounced out too far, too poofy. And he loses himself because of it. At least a teammate doesn't die for his transgressions. No, he's the reason of his own. Now the rest of the T's have to cross through this meat grinder of a crossfire. Favin seals the deal, seals the half, in fact. Sprout, 7 rounds down to the 8 of XCOM. But that's a T side that could have kept going, and in the end, fell short.
Yeah, I think a fairly successful turnaround given the circumstances for Sprout. Again, though, going into the T side, like, you have lost one of your most experienced members. I think Dennis as well. For me, when watching him, he seemed to have way more success when it came down to the T side for Sprout. Like, the CT side, you were still, even with him in the roster, looking at Faven and Searson to do most of the damage. So I am interested to just see the impact, because that was one of the main things when sort of building this roster, or the roster that's just gone, was they wanted to go back to an all German lineup. I'm pretty sure Dennis was a big part of that move as well. So the fact that he's then, well, sort of jumped ship into what is the primary German team, plus a little bit of a mix in there with Turkey.
Turkish delight.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what will happen with this team now. Like, are they going to try out some different players? Will they stick to an all-German roster? Because there is definitely talent. The thing is, though, it's whether or not it can take them to a level that I believe they'd want to achieve, rather than, like, for example, they almost seem like a bit of a feeder team at this point. Like, let's be real. Every single one of these Sprout members, if they were offered a position in Big, they would go. And that's not what any organization wants. Like, look at Tricked, look at Heroic. Like, they've always had these sort of problems.
Look at Heroic. I mean, a team that poached arguably from Sprout, right? Recently having added Naito Safik, our man.
Yeah, no, I think he himself is very happy that he waited, because I do know that he had other offers that also fell through. And like there was some, for example, which involved him moving to America, and I think obviously it's a little bit of luck, but also I think it's the opportunity he deserves. I'm biased as hell. I will admit that I have his shirt sat behind me right now, but it's one of those things where it's like, this is definitely the real opportunity. No offense to Sprout, of course, but this is a chance in a Danish team, a Danish Danish-run organization
as well. You know, first showing at the ESL Pro League just last week, or not even last week. I think yesterday. Right, the 2-0. His first showing as well on LAN with that lineup with Heroic. I mean, there's experience. That's a place where I don't know why this turned to a NATO conversation, but it's my own fault, Tom. I think he's gonna do so well for himself there. I think it's gonna. Like you said, it's worth it that he waited. So worth it.
Also, like, obviously I watched the game yesterday, and especially on Overpass, they had so many like niche little strategies that they've been coming up with. I think, like, obviously that roster is a mix between incredible experience and also like young blood that wants it more than anybody else. So there's so many players on that roster that I know for a fact will sit there and grind all day. And it's exciting. I like seeing them, and well, don't leave us. Watch our game instead of this. I'm pretty sure they're playing today.
I didn't even realize there was simultaneous games. This is Counter-Strike, baby. But this is a pistol round and a half. Reach just tapping heads. Oskarish in with one, and Stomp arrives just in time to add one to the tally. Keto's going to get flanked by Innocent as he tries to give chase down ramp. And that's it. XCOM going to start off the second half the same way they started the first, Tom, and that's with early success. It was, what, 6 rounds straight when I finally sat down? No, 7. And, well, now they're already at 1.
Yeah, there are a few weird things that you missed. You missed a FAMAS hero buy, which I'm going to 100% put down to a misclick. Because
happens.
If either that or Spiddy wanted to be a hero with a FAMAS and no one else bought, but I pray that was not the case. Bomb, I believe, made it down the vent. The fact is, though, there are players giving chase. So it's the classic strategy. I know that we have definitely used that to try and get the bomb down on Nuke. But unfortunately, it is not going to work out for Sprout and Searson. Just trying to do a little bit of extra damage with the P250, especially for him. Any extra money would be beneficial. Wanting to get that AWP, I imagine. But going into the first round, not going to be the case.
Big old AKs hit the board, though, Sprout. With a bolstered buy. Let's see if they have as aggressive of a tendency in the first gun round as that last one. A little desperation is what I smelled as they tried to dive through vent. But Keto's going to go for it again, this time with smoke. A little added effect. Successful. Oscar's going to have to figure out whether they actually got down there.
Spitty misbought again.
Did he?
Yeah, he's got no armor. He bought a scout in spawn. Like, I know what he has done because I do the same thing. It's just like maybe his menu got stuck when he was like clicking the buttons, or like, you know, when you click E to go back and it doesn't. But yeah, he's bought a scout. So that's now, well, I don't know for sure the first one was a misbuy. I'm going to assume that he wasn't trying to be in hero with a FAMAS. Now, no armor with an AK. So you can see from the way he's playing at the moment, super passive. Like, just going to try and get everybody else to take the initial battles, and then he can peek in with a bit of a surprise at the end. Keto's already managed to get control in the vent, though. He doesn't manage to win the duel, and that'll be a nice little upgrade if they can retrieve that AK. Doesn't look like they're going to take the risk.
There's 0 eyes outdoors right now, though, so lots of space, lots of respect being given to Sprout. That was a hard one, Tom. They're all shoulder to shoulder. And the CTs have just left the B site, in fact. They've gone up towards ramp to try and clear the ground floor. Wow. This is a silent round in the making. But smoke's gone down on the B site. CT's flood back downwards. Going to try to stop this plant with 15 seconds excess. No way they do it. 4v4 in the after plant.
Ooh. Mono, though, does manage to get the bomb planter escaping, so it will give them at least the man advantage in the retake. They've still got a reasonable amount of utility and kits on 3 of the 4 players going into this. So they are fairly well set up. The problem is maybe that UMP definitely not ideal, and it is going to be Reeds actually pushing him first. It will just be the trade, however. AK retrieved as well. Bomb going to be tapped just as a bit of a bait as they will be waiting on the door. Oscarish is closed out, but Mono finds the trade, and another one comes in for Innocent. They should just about have enough time to get the defusal done as well. And XCOM, they make that retake work.
That's Mono. That's big play on Mono. And also his teammate who pushes in through doors to get that second kill. Like, they needed both of them at the same time, but Mono almost, by the looks of it, got 4-3'd. Somebody jumps out through control window, shoots him in the side. Mono flicks up, gets the kill. He had a smoke the entire time that he could have tried to use to cover his second teammate, the initial bomb diffuser, but he doesn't decide to throw the smoke. Keeps that gun out instead, wants to lay down the lead, give cover. Almost dies, flicks back up for the kill. And as you saw, teammate did the exact same. So that's one of those rounds where Sprout, in a 4v4 post plant, could have most certainly held on to it all, but they gave up the space to the CTs, lost their chances when they had to hit the headshots, and because of it, find themselves at a 4-round deficit. Not a good look for Sprout starting off. I mean, it's a gun round that looks good, but it's their first gun round while already being on this T side. Should have been able to close that one to get early momentum, but instead they'll have to try and bounce back with the double Mac 10.
Yeah, Murbit. You can see the temptation to go running and gunning in towards that A site, and I believe that's what the strategy is going to be. Murbit leading the charge, makes his way out. The CTs are all just hiding, and they peek to find every single kill. That was quite nice. I like that. The player in heaven knows that they're just going to go running and spraying towards him, so he just goes, nah, and I'm just not going to face you. No chance to get a weapon, no chance for me to go down, and then everybody peeks at once. So good job from XCOM.
It's one of those moments where you have to, you know, it's a calculation. Do I die to this or give up the eco kill? And the choice is easy. Like a bunch of whack-a-moles, they pop up for their kills instantly. They whack back. But at least we've got another buy in from Sprout. Last one was promising. Remember, 4v4 post plant on that B site. That's a good product of a gun round, but they're gonna have to do it the second time as chances begin to dwindle. Margin of error ever so slim. Stomp, despite being blind, does get that first kill, but Keto still afforded an ability to sneak in through Mini. Stomp gets the player behind him, sure enough, and Mono has to come support from the heavens, and yeah, there's so many CT. Poor Sprout walked right through Death's door. Sure, they snuck past the Opera. It made them think they had a chance, but there was so many players ready to defend the A site, Tom. You saw it. A meat grinder once again.
And the reads coming out from the CT side of XCOM are pretty damn good to have that almost every single time. Granted, it has been mostly A plays coming in, but I think, although it's not the best scenario, because neither of the sites in this game are particularly easy to retake, hence why a lot of the time we see it as such a CT-sided map, because the Ts have to take them initially. But they're actually sort of playing more of a retake B, and the one round that they had to do it, they succeeded. So you can't really take anything away from them. And what it does is it means that if at any moment Sprout go into A, there are 4 players on that site, nigh on every single time, which you're just not getting in. You'd have to do something ridiculous to beat that sort of hold.
A little boost going down at ramp. May not see much action. These pistols just going to use their wall of smokes to run down. Merbit. Oh boy, almost flubs his chance at a back turn. That could be costly. It's a Mac 10 thrown over, so now 2 AKs in play. Players just beneath the feet of Stomp. Look. Oh, Molly. What a... Did you see that?
No.
Oh my god. Bro, Speedy throwing a Molotov as he switches back to his pistol, does like a quick little flick because a player walks out door. Boop, instant. That was nice, man.
Spoke about retakes.
I hope see it at home. But go on, Tom.
It's just going to be tough. I almost think the CT side should just give this up. They've got plenty of cash, but 5 versus 3, especially when you know the majority of players have pistols, just don't give them the guns. Just let them take the victory here. You can see Stomp King going to be holding. Reeds alongside him. They've at least got the chance to do some damage, but again, how much of it's actually going to be worth it? Holding them into the site. Stomp King just going to be trying to survive. Is he going to get knifed? Yes, he is. Raven puts him down. I was going to say the stab in the back, but I'm pretty sure that was to his face. I'm not sure if that's better or worse. Would you rather be stabbed in the back, as in, like, someone screwed you over, or would you rather they do it to your face, Connor?
To the face, Tom. You know, to the face is much better. I don't need people behind my back.
I'll bear that in mind.
Yeah, watch it.
SG in play. I'm a fan. I like this gun. I think when you watch someone not using the scope of an SG, it's impressive. And when someone is successfully doing it, I really enjoy watching those sort of plays.
Dude, Vinny from Furia is my favorite Krieg player. He's been using it from before it was really meta. You know, I remember watching like the rank. I was doing rank S Facebook streams, streaming and commentating rank S pugs. Yeah, and dude, guy was so fun to watch. He single-handedly made it worth it.
Well, I think Dia as well from Aristocracy is really good.
Aristocracy.
Aristocracy.
I'm sorry, Tom. I don't even. You're too informed for me.
The Devils won new roster. Like their that's their new name.
Well,
so Dia plays with Taz and
day I learned.
You know the rest. Another
successful round where they get down past this. I was just gonna say last round was the second gun round we saw from Sprout. It was the second time they had 4 survivors in a B site after plant, and it doesn't look like XCOM are gonna be able to stop them. Unless that 1 kill from Oscarish up here towards lobby really does turn the tide. They're going to try to get into the B site, and Reed shuts it down. Mono gets a headshot of his own. Finally, we get Sprout on the scoreboard. But there you have it. Sprout, they were given the entry, the same one they've used to plant bomb twice. And yet, once they arrived to the B site, XCOM stepped up. That's the difference maker. That's the difference that we didn't see last time round. Can Searson keep this up? Is the last question. Sprout Still will now stagnate at 8.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I've started to just notice a lot more in Counter-Strike, when the AUG first came in, most people were still scoping with that gun. Like, you wouldn't like just spray like you would with a rifle most of the time. Nowadays, people they don't even bother. Like, it's just straight up filth sprays coming in with headshots getting you the instant kills as well. I still think it needs to be tweaked a bit because it's so meta at the moment. Like, I miss the rifles. I miss the M4s. They have prettier skins. That's what it is. I'm all about the skins, Connor.
Hey, dude, I'm down for it. I mean, I was praising Hampus's collection earlier today.
Yeah.
Got them Fade gloves, Fade butterfly, Emperor M4. Oh. Pixels.
Too excited? Money well spent, right?
Always is. Who needs a Porsche when you've got butterfly fades?
Exactly. The worrying thing is there are some skins out there that people own that genuinely could buy you a Porsche, which I think that's where I would probably draw the line. But
listen, man, not many things devalue themselves as fast as cars do. So
skins might.
Ooh. Killer shot, but the second one missed. Reetz gonna save the day. Stomp was almost a casualty of that one. Now, while they're trying to clear the boost, Stomp comes in for second servings. Oh man, and Reetz, he's just crouching. He's just hiding from Muirbird. No way. It falls onto Keto alone. 1 versus 3 on this A site, and low HP for Reetz means there's a chance, but a grenade that almost does it. Keto taps bomb, baits him in, and Stomp's gonna find the kill off the sidearm. A 15th for XCOM, but chaos yet again in these rifle rounds.
Yeah, and it's actually quite interesting how things have sort of switched. Like, we were sort of praising some of the members of that CT side for the step up. Like, Searson, again, was starting to have some momentum. It's actually the new boy on the block, Keto, who's at the top of the board, at least in the second half, which that's a bit worrying. Like, I said that it's one of those things where you go into a game. Well, either way, he's gone. I was about to start talking about him, but he's gone straight into the vent again. Like, that's what he's been doing. Very sort of aggressive, risky plays. So maybe that's just the strategy, is more players of 4 will let him off the leash and just see what he can do. 13 kills, 106 ADR. I believe that only counts the second half, but the ADR at least. Look where he's got to. All the way towards the ramp. Easy kill onto Reetz. Oh, his teammate, is he going to switch up his position? Mono doesn't even realize.
Never even looks down. He really expected players to come out from lobby faster than that. Dies because of it. And a 5v3 established. Keto single-handedly winning this round, so it would seem. But think back. Again, last round, we saw that exact same thing happen. A player comes up from ramp, pops the first body, and then the difference was the boosted Reetz saved the day. He was able to crouch and hide long enough for the T's to be distracted, called back that op from who now will fall, but just did get rid of his gun. Happens once more, this time successfully for Sprout. They're gonna pull it through all the way. Floss the tooth, thread the needle. Sprout to a 9th round, but still obviously 15 for XCOM. 1 round's gonna do it.
Well, they're hunting for Innocent, but he's going to be holding in towards spawn, so not really a chance for him to be closed out in this scenario, and that could make a big difference, because now they can... Well, Stomp King will probably go for an AWP. I don't think he's going to be that selfless teammate that opts to go for a rifle instead. And what that means is an MP9 can be dropped over and rifles on the rest of the players. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Which is also what my girlfriend says.
It'll do. Listen, man, she knows you try your best. It's about the effort you put in.
That's what everybody in the youth needs to know. Sometimes it's okay to settle, because we can't all get with celebrities.
You're a celebrity to me, Tom.
We can't all be with the Connor Gervin, you know? So
I told you, bro, it's Scrawn Dog.
Sorry.
Don't call me that ever.
Yeah, I don't screw on Dig It.
Please don't. Is this the final round? A question we're all asking ourselves. We've seen promise from Sprout's T side. We've seen openings, but we've also seen XCOM bounce back out of nowhere. Numbers game, outdoors, boosting the op-up of Searson. He's going to try to get prying eyes, but will he find Stomp, who's tucked back by Hell, peering through the window like a seer in his crystal ball. Pupils dilated, and now he's gone. But he hits the shot. Oh, he hits the shot. 2 HP the difference, and he's gone. He's like, nope. Flies instead back as Mono takes the high ground too.
A little bit of a gap in the smoke. I don't know how much of that Reeds can see, because slightly different for GoTV, but instead, Molotov's off the tees for now. They're just going to have to wait patiently. Gives a little bit more time for his teammates get into some better positions, and actually Reeds himself is going to reposition further back. 30 seconds left on the clock. He's bought a lot of time. That's the big thing at the moment. He comes in. He gets 2 kills as well. Again, this man doubles down towards the B site. And talk about time. He's going to find a third, and he's dropped the bomb. He may have just single-handedly won this game for XCOM, as Murbit has to pull off a ridiculous 1v5. And you can see they're ready and waiting for him. XCOM get their first win on the board in the MDL.
Nice, and it's convincing as well. I mean, sure, it's versus a team that's recently undergone a roster change. You can't deny that. Sprout are not in, their biggest form. However, it was smooth, dude. A couple of T-side openings that I think Sprout really could have run away with, but it was Reeds. Reeds single-handedly in multiple rounds with these huge multi-kills was, like you said at this last one, he's won the round himself in just that single play. So Reeds is where I tip my hat, Tom. And that's second map done for the day.
Yeah, still 2 more to go, of course. So make sure you join us after the break. We'll be back with some more MDL.